Welcome to my documentary about the almond milk industry. We are going to be reviewing the claims that the almond milk industry has, its farming practices, and the ecological impacts that the industry has on the ecosystems around it. I would say within the past 10 years, the consumer demand for almond milk has skyrocketed as the general public has now seen traditional dairy as bad for the environment and bad for their health. So they were looking for an alternative, and almond milk fit the bill. As we can see from these graphs, the almond milk sales have been driven up rapidly since 2012. Not only is it destroying the traditional dairy market, it is also destroying most of the other competitors, such as soy milk and rice milk and coconut milk. So it's a pretty highly demanded product. And not to say that it doesn't have its benefits. It's one of the lowest emission crops while also not needing the most land to grow the crops. However, we see the issues come into play with the absolute demand for this product as well as the water consumption of this product. The issue lies with the production of this crop. To make one singular almond, it takes 1.1 gallons of water. And to make 1 pound of almonds, it takes 1,900 gallons of water. This is an extremely thirsty crop. I bet you're wondering, what does the water consumption of a crop really have to do with anything? Well, we can see that the demand for this crop is going up, and the majority of almond crops are placed in California, which already is in severe drought, which means that on an already water taxed system, there is even more strain put upon it by the almond milk industry. So this graph kind of perfectly sums it up here. We can see that there are places in California that have more than 40% of the total US almond production. In those same places, we can see extreme drought to exceptional drought levels. And in those very same places, we can see a decrease of more than 10 feet in the groundwater well levels in that area. Now, it doesn't seem smart to put one of the most thirsty crops in one of the most drought ridden states, but it is where almonds grow most naturally. However, we can draw conclusions that the large irrigation of this only steadily growing crop can be contributed to a large portion of groundwater depletion and drought contribution in California. Another alarming aspect of this industry is the use of monocultures on a large scale when cultivating their crops. Now, monocultures are used in US agriculture much to the detriment of the environment. However, the drought on top of monoculture usage in a California sense is one of the most detrimental. Monocultures essentially maximize efficiency with not a lot of thought put into the quality of the soil or the ecosystem around these monocultures, which we can see are usually decimated after a long period of monoculture agricultural farming. Yet another aspect that the almond milk industry has affected is the bee population, as bees are essential to the functioning of America's almond industry. But billions are dying in the process of the pollination of these crops. While beekeepers attributed this to pesticides, environmentalists and organic beekeepers maintain that the real culprit is something more systemic, which is America's reliance on industrial agricultural methods, especially those used in the almond industry, which demands a large scale mechanism of one of nature's most delicate and natural processes, pollination. So, this industry has not only exploited California's already drought ridden groundwater levels, it is also exploiting the bee population for the pollination of these giant monocultures that continue to grow as the industry ramps up to fill consumer needs. Well, what can we as consumers do? It can start by demanding transparency with the products that we buy. When something goes ahead and says that it's a greener alternative, we want the facts to be backed up with it. We can also look for more sustainable options, such as oat milk, which also does not need any form of pollination and uses a great deal less of water